If you're looking for cheap, safe, and reliable MT, make sure you go check out my new sponsor, safembamt.com. Use code JC2K for 5% off and go build that God Squad you always wanted. Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, I am going to be ranking the top 10 best point guards in NBA 2K21 MyTEAM. We're coming towards the end of the year. We'll probably get a few more point guards who will be very, very solid options, but these are probably the guys who you're going to want to choose from for the most part when you're building your God Squad for in-game for the last month and a half of the game. If y'all agree with my opinion on this list or disagree with it, feel free to let me know about it down in the comments down below. I'm sure there's somebody who I probably left off in your opinion who you prefer over one or multiple of the guys on this list. It's also possible I forgot somebody. It's very possible. I do my best to not forget anybody, but it does happen occasionally, so that is my fault if that does happen. This is entirely my opinion as well, so just remember that in case you disagree with some of the positioning of players that I have on this list, and that's totally fine. Also, if you do enjoy this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Less than 400 subscribers away from the 2,500 subscriber mark on the channel, and I would really appreciate it if y'all subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, without further ado, let's hop into it. Take a look at the top 10 point guards in the game right now. So at number 10, we have Mr. Tjayerrday, who I think is one of the more underrated point guards in the game. Let me pull up 2KDB so I can look at his stats. And this penny card is an invincible point guard, obviously. There's a lot of invincible point guards in the game. 6'7" with 6'10" wingspan. He's got a decent player build, hotspots everywhere, every badge that's key. I mean, there's not a single badge on this card that you want on Hoff. Like, corner specials would be cool, I guess, tight handles maybe. But, like, statistically, he's incredible. His release is super good. Jump shot 75 is that same Pascal Siakam, Brandon Ingram, Jaylen Brown, Obi Toppin release that y'all have probably used on other cards. Very easy to green, very smooth, very consistent. One of my favorite releases in the game in terms of greening. It's not one of the fastest releases, I wouldn't say, but it's definitely fast enough to get off consistently. It's just super, super easy and consistent to green. I think this card has gone a bit overlooked just because of there being a lot of other point guards in the game who are probably more hyped up than this Tjayerrday card, but Penny is definitely a super solid option at the point guard position. Great dribble zigs. He's really good at everything on the court. Really is just a very, very solid all-around point guard option and deserves to have a spot on this list, even if he does come in at number 10. At number 9, we have Mr. Rudy Gay. And the fact that Rudy Gay is at 9 just shows you how good this point guard list is. There are so many good point guards in this game. Some that aren't even on this list. Guys like Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Kobe, Rudy Fernandez. There's other guys as well who I know I'm not mentioning who can play the point guard position who don't even crack the top 10 in my opinion right now, just because of how stacked pretty much every position, but specifically the point guard position, is at this point in the year. Rudy Gay, though, is 6'8" with a 7'3" wingspan. He's got hotspots everywhere, as do I think every card in this list, but 56 Hoffs, badge that you'd want on Hall of Fame that he doesn't have. I mean, again, I don't really think there are any crucial ones. He's got a lot of gold playmaking badges, but I don't think any of them are that crucial except for maybe a badge like Dimer. But even that, with all these cards being as good as they are, I don't think it's all that necessary at this point in the year. And then statistically, he's elite all the way around as well. Really very, very close to a GOAT card, not missing much. Release is really good. I like the Rudy Gay release. I don't think it's quite as good as it was in 2K20, but it definitely is a super good all-around release. And he's got perfect dribble 6 as well. Pro 2, size up, can curry, slide, Pro 8 between the legs, and Pro 3 behind the back. Just another really, really good 300 point guard who can slash, he can play defense, he can really do it all at a very high level on the court. And that's the thing with every card on this list. I think to a certain extent at this point in the year, cards are definitely preference, but this is my preference in the order in which I would use these cards. But I really do like Rudy Gay a lot. I think he still is a top point guard in the game. And I think every point guard in this list, and even some of the ones that I didn't list, some of the guys that I listed as not having made this list, are still top, like they're like comp level cards at this point in the year. You can pretty much use most of the top cards in the game and have success with them. But at number 8, we have Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who, I'll be honest, this card has grown on me over time. When I first got him a couple months ago when he came out, this card really frustrated me because I couldn't green with him consistently, but as a slasher and a defender, you're really not going to find much better option at the point guard position in the game right now. Outside of a couple of guys who are going to see in the top 5, there's not really a better defensive point guard in the game than this Giannis Antetokounmpo card. He's also an incredible slasher. Y'all know what type of dunk animations Giannis gets, and he's got great dribble sigs. The only thing that holds Giannis back from being a top 5 and potentially even higher point guard in the game is the fact that he's very, very hard to green with. His release on very quick is not consistent, but he really does everything else at an incredible level on the court. Playmaking, defense, finishing, shooting on unlimited difficulty he's great at. The only issue is on Hall of Fame at a competitive difficulty. It's hard to green with this card, and his three-point rating is a little bit low as well. If he had his release on quick, which I was really good at greening with, this would be a top 5 point guard in the game. But his dribble stigs are great. He's still an incredible defender and slasher, and for that reason, I still think he deserves a spot in the top 10 point guards in the game, despite the fact that his release is tough to green. And I think number 8 is probably where he slots in right now. At number 7, we have Tracy McGrady, who I think a lot of people would probably have higher on this list. This T-Mac card is the best T-Mac card that we've gotten this year, in my opinion. I think he's better than the Invincible T-Mac, better, obviously, than the Radioactive T-Mac as well. And just is an incredible option. 6'8" with 7'2" wingspan. He's got hotspots every 54 hoffs. The thing about this T-Mac that the other T-Macs didn't have is the fact that he doesn't come with Steady Shooter. And Steady Shooter on current gen is just not a badge that you like to see, especially on T-Mac. I feel like he makes him shoot more fulls, miss more whites, and his release is harder to green for whatever reason. He gets a lot of load ups. But without that Steady Shooter badge, I do feel like his release is more consistent and significantly easier to green. Stats are basically that of an invincible card, as y'all can see. Tjayerrday release, Kobe Bryant up run very quick. This release without Steady Shooter, I actually like it. I think it's still a little bit odd. It doesn't have the biggest green window, but it definitely has a bigger green window than a guy like Giannis or KD. And if you find the release on it, it can be very, very consistent and very, very knockdown. Pro 2 size, if he can curry slide, and Pro 3 behind the back as well. Just a really, really good point guard option. One of the better 3 hunters in the game. Amazing slasher as well. Defensively, he's not a top point guard on this list, but is still very, very solid on the defensive end with his size and length as well. Coming in at number 6, we have Hedo Turkoglu. And I think Hedo is another guy who some people would have higher on this list. And I very much considered putting Hedo higher on this list, but there's just so many good point guards in this game. And one guy in particular who I think a lot of people would have below Hedo, who I just adore personally, and had to put him above Hedo. That being said, Hedo is 6'10" with 6'11" wingspan, so his arms aren't super long, but he has a big player build, good height. 56 hoffs, hotspots everywhere. Badges he's missing, again, there's really not anything crucial, I don't think. None of these playmaking badges or finishing badges or whatever that he's missing are crucial. Stats-wise, he's elite all the way around. 90, 95s on everything at least. Jump shot 98 with Rudy Gay release on very quick is a really big thing as well. The fact that he has 98 at point guard at 6'10" is really, really nice. He's basically Danny Ferry, but can play point guard, is kind of how I would describe this Rudy Gay to you, or this Danny Ferry, this Hedo Turkoglu to you. He's got the same release as Danny Ferry, including the upper, same dribble sigs, just really good. He's basically Danny Ferry, but at point guard, coming very, very complete. He's the dark matter Danny Ferry, except he can play the point guard position, and that's just incredible for this Hedo Turkoglu card. He's so, so good. One of the best, if not the best, 300 point guards in the game right now. The only thing that holds him back, I think, is the fact that on defense, he isn't quite as good as some of the other point guards in this. I don't feel like he gets the slashing animations of some of the top point guards in this list as well. So for me personally, he can't be any higher than 6, but offensively, there may not be a better point guard in the game right now than Hedo Turkoglu. And I think there's an argument that he is either the best or, like, for sure top 3 offensive point guards in the game right now. At number 5, we have Ben Simmons, and I'm talking about Warped Reality Ben Simmons. I still think the Warped Reality Ben is a top 5 point guard in the game. Ben, if y'all have used Ben Simmons cards this year, you know his slashing is incredible. He's got a big player build. He's got a wide player build, which helps him defensively. Hotspots everywhere. Only 44 hoffs, which is a lot less than most of the guys in this list. But then looking at badges he actually needs, you would like to see a Hall of Fame ankle breaker, Hall of Fame green machine, and corner specialist, maybe slippery off ball, rim protector, and post move lockdown. But really, besides that, he still comes very complete, and as a slasher and a perimeter defender, and even as a shooter, he's still incredibly elite all the way around. But his slashing animations are really what separate him, I feel like, from pretty much every point guard in the game. Ben Simmons just gets so many contact dunks. He's so hard to stop slashing the rim. Just a really incredible all-around card. His release is very good. You can shoot the 3 ball at a high rate. It's easy to green. Just a consistent release. Nothing like Ben Simmons in real life. Pro 2 sides as well. Pro 8 between the legs. Just really nice dribble 6 there. It doesn't have a good behind the back, but his slashing and defense and the fact that he can still stretch the floor at a very high level is just, I think, still incredibly valuable, and he has the size as well to play defense against the top point guards in the game. And for his price, I'm not sure there's a better point guard option in the game right now than this dark matter Ben Simmons. At number 4, this is the guy who I think people are going to take issue with, and it's Paul George. I think Invincible Paul George is the 4th best point guard in the game, and I know people are going to disagree with me. A lot of people would have had Paul George probably at 7 or 8, something like that. But for me personally, I just think Paul George is that dude, and I clicked on Chris Paul, who does not make the top 10 point guards, not even close. But Paul George, obviously an invincible, 6'9", 6'11", wingspan. He's got great size at point guard. At 220 pounds and 6'9", he also is right at the threshold for curry sliding, but he can still curry slide on current gen, which is something that every other point guard in the top 5 can't do. He's the only point guard in the top 5 who can curry slide, which is nice. Badges wise, he's not missing anything. Stats wise, again, not missing anything. Paul George release on very quick. If y'all have used Paul George, if y'all have used Cam Reddish, y'all know how good this release is. It's so chicken, so easy to green, so consistent. I think Paul George's release might be my favorite release in the game right now in terms of just straight up catch and shoot, it's up there. I don't think it's my favorite. I think Anton Jameson's is probably mine, but Paul George release with his upper is definitely up there. Pro 2 size up as well, can curry slide like I said, and Pro 3 behind the back. Just an incredible all-around card. Y'all know I love Paul George. I've loved Paul George since 2K19. His card even then was amazing, but Paul George is a top 4 point guard in the game for me personally, and I think there's a very good chance this card will be in my in-game lineup because I love using his cards so much in 2K. At number 3, we have Mr. Andrei Kirilenko. AK is another one of those guys. I actually prefer running AK at shooting guard. He's my starting shooting guard, but AK at point guard is still incredibly elite. I think he's just as good. 6'9" with 7'4" wingspan, hotspots everywhere. Again, looking at the badges, he's really not missing anything important. He has the stats of an invincible card defensively. You add a speed Grinch with him that boosts the driving dunk, the speed of the ball. He's basically an invincible card on offense as well with coach boost and that shoe boost. Like, he's really an invincible card without being listed an invincible card. Pro 2 size up, Pro 3 behind the back. Can't curry slide, unfortunately, because he weighs more than 220 pounds at 6'9", but he also has 98, just like Hito. Not quite as good of an upper, I would say, but his defensive animations are incredible. I think AK has probably the second best on-ball defensive animations of any of the point guards in this game, behind only the guy who's going to be at number 2, who I'll mention in a second. But his defensive animations are phenomenal. He's an incredible shooter, really good jumper, solid slasher as well. I think he's underrated as a slasher. He gets nice dunk animations for sure. Even since his diamond early in the year, he's always had nice dunk animations, which is also nice at the point guard position, having a guy you feel confident you can rim one with and get a bucket in a late shot clock situation. But at number 2, we have Mr. LeBron James, GOAT LeBron. Again, I don't think this comes as any surprise. LeBron is that dude. I mean, he's incredible. LeBron is 6'9" with 7' wingspan. He's got one of the bigger, wider player builds in the game at 250 pounds. He's a big guy, obviously. Hotspots everywhere, 74 offs. He has every Hall of Fame badge in the game. I don't feel like Steady Shooter holds him back personally. The way Steady Shooter sometimes holds back other cards, it just doesn't seem like it affects LeBron. I still green incredibly consistently with him. Every stat is 99. He's got the Dante Exum base, so his release is super chicken. I like his release with his upper. I'm very consistent with it off the catch, off the L2 stop, off the quick stop, everything. I'm super consistent with his release. One of my favorite releases to shoot with. Pro 2 size up, Pro 3 behind the back, Pro 2 between the legs. He can't curry, obviously, because he weighs way too much at 6'9", but doesn't really matter. His defensive animations, I think, are the best on-ball defensive animations of any guard in the game, or any point guard in the game. He moves amazing in defense. He plays lanes incredibly. He has a ton of unblockable dunk animations, similar to a guy like Ben Simmons. Just an incredible all-around card. One of the best point guards in the game. I think you could make an argument that he is the best point guard in the game, but it might be recency bias for me personally. But I am saying Invincible Ben Simmons is the best point guard in the game right now. Invincible Ben is just so good at everything. His already has a chicken release, 6'10" with 7' wingspan, hotspots everywhere, 66 hops. He's got every key Hall of Fame badge in the game, obviously, invincible stats. And then the same Ben Simmons release on very quick, Pro 2 size up, Pro 8 cross between the legs, and Pro 3 behind the back, which he didn't have on his other card. That's really a big upgrade. Having that Pro 3 behind the back is very nice in the full court, and he moves amazingly off the full court, the Pro 3 behind the back. I think he plays lanes as well as any point guard in the game. His slashing animations, I think, are the best slashing animations of any guard in the game, and he plays incredible on defense as well. He's a great rebounder. He's so switchable because he's got such a big player build and the great height, plus the amazing jumper. He's what an invincible point guard Giannis could be if Giannis's release was greenable. This Ben Simmons card is, in my opinion, the best point guard in the game right now. He's just that dude. He can do everything on the court at such a high level. I'm looking forward to continuing to use this card for the next month and a half of this game, and I'm gonna miss him when 2K22 comes around, because we're gonna have to go back to using Ben Simmons who can't shoot, or small point guards, which is totally fine with me. I enjoy using small point guards. That's a fun time of the year. But I also do enjoy cheesing with my Ben Simmons, who shoots from everywhere and can do everything on the court at the end of the year. So this is my list of the top 10 point guards in the game right now. Feel free to let me know what you think about my list in the comments down below. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Who did I rate too high? Who did I rate too low? Is there anybody I left off this list that you think deserves a spot on this list? Also, remember, this is current gen only, so there are some players who I think are better on next gen. For example, a Luka Doncic, who did not make this list, but definitely could if it was next gen related. So just keep that in mind as well. But that is going to do it for this video. If y'all did enjoy, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.